All right, in this video, we'll go over how to generate the parts list and board feet calculations for the drawer. So both the drawer face and the inner drawer is what we'll create. All right, so let's start with the face, kind of moving in here. So here's our overall dimensions of 6 inches in height and 12 inches of width. Well, our style, okay, is going to be the same as the height of the face. Okay, so that's clearly defined here. So some of our challenges now are going to be faced with rail C, rail D, and then panel P1. So the styles are pretty much taken care of. And those are going to be 2 inches in width, and we'll take a look at that when we eventually get to the parts list. Okay, but nonetheless, rail C, panel P1, and rail D. So if we go to the three-dimensional drawing here, so I have it highlighted on the face, and you can see the rail fits in between the two styles. Okay, all right, well, if we take a look at this, kind of split it in part right here, you can see there's actually what is called a tongue on both ends that fits into the style. So when we glue it, it makes a really nice strong joint. So we have to actually include that distance. So along with this face, then we have to include the distance of those two tongues. Those two tongues together is a measurement of 7/8. Okay, so the face of the rail here is actually 8 inches. Okay, so if we go back to our drawing here, this is 12 inches. If this is a 2-inch wide style and this is a 2-inch wide style, what's left is 8 inches. But remember, inside here there is a tongue on both ends, and so we need to include those as well. So that would be an additional 7/8 of an inch. Okay, a little background information about the rails. So if we take a look at the panel, all right, the panel actually fits inside the grooves all the way around. So we have to make this panel 7/8 of an inch in height and 7/8 of an inch in width longer than the actual area it shows on the drawing. Okay, so if I were to draw a dashed line, this panel would actually be bigger than this. So again, if we have a 6-inch height, this is 2 inches, this is 2 inches, what's left is 2 inches, but we have to include the 7/8 inch, so it actually, height would be 2 7/8. This again, it would be the same measurement of the rail, but nonetheless, this distance from here to here is 8 inches, but a little extra for the groove, okay, would be 7/8, so that would be 8 7/8. So we already know that measurement. Okay, all right, so let's just go here to our parts list, and I already included that information here. This one might be a little difficult to read, but that's 8 7/8 for the width. Remember, the individual components are 2 inches for the rails. I'm trying to draw this through the lens of the camera, but nonetheless, those would be 2 inches. And then, of course, the dimension of the panel. Okay, so you go ahead and finish that table, and then we're going to move on to the inner drawer. So let's go back to our drawing here. In the inner drawer, dimensions are laid out pretty well. So here's our front and back, 4 3/4 height, and then 10 1/2 for the front and back. The left and right sides, again, 4 3/4. However, this is 10 inches in width, and then of course the bottom is well defined here. So that should not be an issue when it comes to laying this out. Remember, thickness is always going to be 1, so you will need to fill out the width and length of each one of those parts. Okay, let's see here now. All right, it's a little fuzzy. I'm going to stop. All right, so the procedure to create the board feet calculations is the same as we saw with the face frame and the left and right sides. Okay, so Here's our formula, T times W times L over 144. Okay, again, this is style A, so I've done this one for you. So this is just a matter of going back to our parts list and substituting these values in. But nonetheless, here's our formula. We substitute values in for T, W, and L. We do the multiplication. We ends up being 1 times 2 times 6, ends up being 12. That's going to be over 144. Then, of course, whatever that math ends up being is going to be in our board feet. Okay, and then, of course, continue on. I did not continue on with all this. I thought you could do that. So, again, the same procedure there. And, of course, moving on to the front. So it's really just translating and substituting values from our parts list into our formula. And this will conclude the board feet calculations. And then, of course, submit it just like we have been doing. Create 3 images, paste them on a document, save it as a PDF, and submit. Thank you.